Well, shaking, folks, back with another reaction, back with some more Morrissey, and we're back with another bonus tune included in the expanded folder for his 1988 album Viva Hate. And the next tune is We'll Never Marry. It's a straightforward phrase. I would point out there's no subject. It's not I will never marry, you will never marry, or he will never marry, though in the latter case I would point out, and seemingly this is the case with Morrissey, sometimes in lyrics a person speaks in third person when they're actually referring to their own experiences because it's perhaps easier to cast that type of narrative in the character of another rather than simply, and perhaps more lyrically interesting or universal rather than just saying I, where the natural inclination is like, okay, so then this is autobiographical about the singer. In any case, I wouldn't be surprised if this is on some level related to Morrissey's perspective about marriage and his own relationship vis-a-vis the institution. I would also say that given that lots of his lyrics are sarcastic, or there's a twist in the tale in terms of the meaning, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a surprise along the way. I will now try to look up metadata whether there's any specifics about where this particular release or track comes from. So according to the metadata, once again, shout out to Seb, it is the B-side of Every Day Is Like. Every Day Is Like Sunday. I was like, wait, I don't remember a song that was just called that. But yeah, it's the Every Day Is Like Sunday B-side, released in 1988. So here we go, a non-album solo Morrissey track, We'll Never Marry, included in an expanded folder for his 1988 album Viva Hate.
I'm writing this to say, in a gentle way, thank you, but no.
Okay.
I will live my life as I will undoubtedly die.
That is the only word that kind of followed that. this. I've heard Pet Shop Boys work with electronic. I feel like that's what I would expect if Morrissey were to work with Neil and Chris. The grandeur of that track, the sweep of that track, the emotion, the depth of that track, the richness of that track, and that's all sonically. But lyrically, it did sound like he's talking about himself. It did talk about, or it did sound like, he's saying, yeah, it sounds like it's too complicated to be with others. He's gonna stay as he's been, and maybe if some of that has been not enforced by himself, but situational and the product of the way other people have treated him. But it sounds like at this point he'd rather stick with the devil he knows than to try to get permanently entangled with someone emotionally and psychosexually. So yeah, it felt somewhat autobiographical. And also, again, when I hear him talk about I'm gonna be as I've always lived or whatever, alone, it's it doesn't just come across in like a relationship. It comes across in the fact that in a number of his songs it sounds like he was bullied, or he had like experiences in school and in public places that were supposed to be better for the people, for the kids that were involved with them, that for him were negative or unfortunate or misanthropic or thropic. Either way, it felt like it was in that vein that he's saying, you know what, like, I'm just going to stick to myself because it seems like that's the least painful way to go. So, yeah, be curious to hear what people have to say. But ultimately, it didn't seem like it was far away from a lot of what else I've heard from him emotionally. And as I said, like, the production of that one, just genius. So, really love that one sonically. One of my favorites from him, and definitely not one that sounded Smiths-like. I've said on a few others, it's like, oh, this one sounds a bit Smiths, and maybe this one less so than I would have thought. But this feels like, very far away from the vintage or like early Smiths sound. Maybe a bit more like Strange Ways, but yeah, just a really top track. One of my favorites from him so far. Shout out to Seb once again for sharing the Morrissey. And yeah, let me know what you think of this one. I am curious. Peace.